My reign as a Jeopardy champion lasted almost 35 minutes.
This was coming, like the waiting room of the vasectomist, and I know that's not what he's called. I know there's like a fancy word, but...
If you leave, I have nothing left to live for.
I was born on December 28th, 1983. It was the same year that Lionel Richie's Can't Slow Down album came out. It was a good year, and December 28th is very, very close to the new year. You can see where I'm going with this. So I was kind of smack in the middle of Jesus' birthday and the new year. So my birthday kind of gets lost in the shuffle of things, as it should. I mean, Jesus was important, and the new year is also important. But what happens is, if any of you have December birthdays or birthdays around that time, you get a lot of like birthday/Christmas presents, and you get a lot of kind of stuff mixed together. It's kind of a cop-out, but I went with it. My locker never got decorated at school, you know, all that. Poor me. But the good thing is that sometimes you got really cool things. Like when I turned 16, we got to go to Chicago and we had this big like family celebration. But something you should know about me is that I was never like a real party animal. I don't know if that's obvious as I'm standing up here now, but I was more like the turtleneck girl in high school. I wore a lot of turtlenecks. They're very functional and they keep your neck warm. They don't reveal a lot of skin, and I realized this was becoming a problem because my mom actually went out and bought me like a pink sparkly tube top and some pleather pants, like snakeskin pleather pants when I was 16, right before we went on this trip. And I wasn't sure if this was supposed to turn into like a rite of passage or like where this was going, but I went with it and I took the clothes with me on the trip to Chicago. And I still wore the turtleneck, though, because it was really cold. In Chicago, you can't wear tube tops, and I don't know what she was thinking. But we went to the Cheesecake Factory, like you do when you turn 16. And I got a huge piece of cheesecake, and I was just loving life. This, to me, was like the ultimate celebration. And so something else you should know about me is I was a very cerebral person. So being stuck right before the new year, I started to reflect on my own mortality at age 16, you know? It's like, it's another year, it's coming soon, and what have I done with my life? I'm a sophomore in high school, and I'm like barely making A's, and like I don't even have a boyfriend, I've never kissed anybody, like what am I doing? And I walked outside of the Cheesecake Factory just to get some air, and Muhammad Ali walked by. No joke. Like right at that moment, Muhammad Ali walks by. But this is not like the young Muhammad Ali who likes, whatever the expression was, like sting like a bee but float like a butterfly. Reverse that, that's what he said. He walked by and he was just kind of shuffling, and he was older, and he looked like the years had worn him down a little bit. And I said hello to him, and he said hi, but he was kind of distant looking. And that did not help my reflection on mortality. That was just like, I was horrified, and I was like, this is what happens. You get older, and then you die, and you lose everything. And so I went back in, and my mom was like, eat your cheesecake. And we went back to the hotel, and I looked at the pleather pants and the tube top, and I just put them away and went to bed. And fast forward a few years, I was celebrating my 21st birthday. Which, you know, is a big one. And me being who I was, I had still never had an actual drink at that point. So I was celebrating at home with my friends from high school because guess what? It's the holiday break and everybody is just at home with their families. So what we had was a home celebration with like 4 friends from high school. My mom made drinks and we had like shot glasses, but it was like in my kitchen from where I grew up, and like my dad was there, and so that was super fun. I think Juvenile's Back That Ass Up came on because my mom tried to find like an album that reflected my youth and put that on, which made things even more awkward. And we were just sitting in my living room drinking, and my mom asked if I wanted to play a song on the piano or like play my cello. Anyway, fast forward to the end of the night. It's like 11:30, midnight. My friends are drinking, having a good time. And I went upstairs and just changed into my PJs. And I was like, so guys, you're welcome to keep partying, but I'm actually going to go to bed. So I went to bed before midnight on my 21st birthday in my childhood home, in my bedroom. And I laid there and I reflected again on my life and what I was doing. At this time, age 21, still hadn't had a boyfriend, still wasn't really a partier. And I was thinking, wow, this is like deja vu all over again. But then, fast forward even further in the future, I just had my birthday this year. It was a big one, the big 3-2. And I looked at my Facebook, and I had missed the messages from Christmas. And I looked down, and there's a message on my Facebook wall from this guy, BJ, who I couldn't even remember who he was. And there's been so many since then. But it said, "Merry Christmas, love Jesus." And it was just a YouTube video. And I opened the YouTube video, and it's him. He's this like, bearded guy, kind of looks like Jesus. And he's in the video as Jesus fighting Santa Claus with lightsabers to save Christmas, like to see who represents Christmas. And I thought it was all fine until they were like stabbing Jesus's hands with the lightsaber to make the stigmata. And at that point, I was like, this is too much for me. I can't. And I turned it off. And I looked at BJ, and I tried to remember who he was. And it turned out I had met him on a New Year's Eve a few years back with some friends in Brooklyn when I had finally decided to go to an actual party. And like, it was New Year's Eve in Brooklyn. He answers the door to his apartment in a chinchilla fur coat and underwear. And he was the older brother of one of my friends from college, as it turns out, and he had won the Amazing Race. So if any of you remember Tyler and BJ, he had won, and he was spending millions of dollars on chinchilla fur coats and staying in his apartment in Brooklyn, and now apparently making YouTube videos as Jesus. So I reflected back on this New Year's Eve, and I remember I had walked into the party, and the first thing he said to me was, "We need to attach a string from your chin to the ceiling," which was a very weird comment. And I think what he meant was, you need to like stand tall and keep your chin up, or at least that's what I got from it. So at age 32 this year, I'm reflecting on BJ and this party, my turtleneck days, and my reflection on life each birthday. And I approached this new year with a little trepidation, but I put my chin up and I calmly told my friends when they asked me to go out to party that, you know what, I'm cool watching the ball drop.